Start recording.
Start recording.
Start broadcasting. I'm taking earphones off. How's it going? Welcome to this Wednesday day of another month.
I think it's the 23rd.
Excellent. We're here on Shenanigans Live. I'm looking at you on the
Hello.
camera. I'm also going to pull up the Ustream chit chats. Let's see if I can do this one. Foul salute. Pop out chat. All right. Good.
Got it going.
We got names appearing. We got names disappearing.
Woohoo!
We got things not
for
working.
the appearing. No!
Oh no, it's just freezing and crashing.
Oh, okay.
All good things do. Welcome to the show.
Wow.
Katie's here. Boom.
Hi.
I'm here. What's going on?
He's back. If you tuned in for the first time last week,
oh yeah,
that was
a
my
very
solo
special
show.
episode of Shenanigans Live.
Yeah.
Shenanigans, Sands, and Hannigan.
Sansa Hannigan.
Hannigan.
So Shaggy's back.
Hi.
And,
Guess who's back?
I'm wondering if we have a lot of built-up rantings.
Do we?
No.
Oh, we might, because I had to delay talking about Avengers because we thought too many people didn't see it yet.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I'm going to ask you if we should talk about it just yet. My chat's still...
Maybe a bit later. Yeah.
What's my chat doing? It's like, it's turned into a blank screen.
Are we in Chrome?
Yes. Google, fix it.
I know. Stop being a jerk,
Wait.
Google.
Our chat shows up for like 3 seconds. Okay, I'm not going to touch it.
Okay, yeah, leave it be. Hello,
Alright.
people.
Alright, we got people here. We have Orange Fruit saying you guys should try censored, no ads.
Oh,
Whatever
I
you
wish.
said, we're not allowed to try. Innes Talks is here.
No ads is like $90
Black
a month.
Ice Angel is here.
Hello.
We got TV Dinner here. We got is here. How you guys all doing? How's the audio sounding? Can you hear Katie?
Can you hear me? Blah, 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 blah.
Because usually I overpower and everyone's all like, stop talking. Let Katie talk.
Yeah, have it.
They're having pain.
Yeah, and then all last week it's my turn to talk, and I'm like, So what are you all doing?
Oh,
Let's draw a thing.
how was that? Did everyone enjoy last week's episode?
I hope so.
Oh, someone says nice Superman mug. Yeah, it's a very nice Superman mug indeed.
That's my mug. Weirdo.
Oh man, I almost made Black Ice Angel look like a lunatic. Thinking there were Superman mugs where there weren't. Speaking of Superman, God, segue quick. Do I have a Superman story? This new
the creator of Superman won Joe Shuster.
Okay.
We're up for an award.
Okay, this is good. I like this. Joe Shuster Awards are coming up in Montreal
in September.
And guess what is nominated for not one, but 2 awards to the king. We are nominated for the Jean Day Award for self-publishing in the year 2011, and we're also nominated for the Dragon Award for most dragons in a book.
For kids, comics especially for the young.
For comics for the youngins, and as everyone has pointed out, dudes, you guys are the only self-published in that category, and I say, yes, we are! Look at that. We're just rocking it.
Yes.
And while we're rocking it, Katie's going to be drawing. Let's see what she's drawing.
Oh, man, you...
No, I don't want to
give me a minute to get started.
Okay.
There's nothing happening yet.
TV Dinner says I enjoyed last week's episode, even though I was late.
Oh, thank you. Very kind.
And the stock says, woots!
Excellent. Yeah, thanks y'all for showing up.
But yeah, it's pretty interesting, because as I tell everyone, I'm like, wait, is illiterate the right word? What am I? I can't spell.
Well, it's not illiterate, but you're a terrible speller and you don't read anything.
I'm a terrible speller, and I don't read.
But you call yourself a
nominated!
writer. Don't encourage this.
I'm gonna go back to my old high school and talk to all my teachers and be like, remember that essay? Remember this, nominated!
And she'd be like, yes, but if you actually read things, then I think of what it
if you read
could
a
be.
book or two, you might learn a thing or two about it.
You read comics though, right?
I do. I read plenty of comics. I've actually been trying to play catch up and start reading like a bunch of the stuff you were buying. I didn't really actually get a chance to buy much of it. The only thing I bought at TCAF actually was a plushy white dog from Pooch Cafe, which isn't Mutts. A lot of people mix that up. It's not Mutts. Pooch Cafe is the one with the little white dog with the kind of like star ears, like black ears and kind of pointy.
Oh yeah.
And
you met that guy.
I met that guy. I met the creator of Pooch Cafe at the Rocky Horror Picture Show on Halloween.
That doesn't
and that was our first
sound
encounter.
Kid friendly.
Well, no, this isn't a kid friendly show.
Oh yeah.
We cuss. We say words like butt.
Oh no.
Buttocks. Watch yourself, kids.
All the time.
We might ramp it up to bum. Cuss words. But yeah, Halloween, I went to the Rocky Horror screening at the Underground Cinema, and I was dressed as low-budget Sonic the Hedgehog. And the way this works is you buy a blue t-shirt and you cut a hole in the stomach, so it's a circle, and you wear like a peach color.
Oh, okay. I thought you just showed your belly.
No. I had my, though you couldn't use like a simple like skin color or whatever clothing under, I had my muscle structure t-shirt that shows all like the muscles. So I had that under my shirt, and I had my big Mickey Mouse gloves and my Sonic hat, which I bought at Comic-Con. And I was just like there in line, and I was next to this guy who he didn't know why he was there, because his like New Zealand friend, like she like dragged him along, and for somehow he just did not get the hint what this was about, and no one was telling him.
Oh, he didn't know what Rocky Horror was.
He had no idea what he was in for, and so we just kept quiet. And then we just got talking, and it's like, oh, I don't know how we brought it up, but we were talking about, like, I do comics. He's like, oh, I do this comic called Pooch Cafe. I'm like, wait, what? Isn't that thing?
Yeah, we see that in the Toronto Star.
It's in the newspapers and stuff like that. It's just like, it kind of reminds me of these people all around, and he was just telling me how he does his book through Amazon's publishing. Like, they take care of all his print and shipping and stuff, which is nice. So, that was kind of like a nice tidbit. That's when I first met him, and then comes TCAF, and sorry, there's the Ustream playing live, and it's distracting me.
Oh yeah, shut that off.
They're wearing scarves. It's Creative Live.
Turn it off.
Our show is way more creative. We're going to teach you things. Life lessons. So, and then this time I meet him, and I'm just like, hey, I was the guy dressed as Sonic the Hedgehog at Rocky Horror. And he's just like, that was a really random memory to like bring that back up. And he had plushies with him this time, and he had like these little dog, the Pooch, a little white dog. It was like $15, and the bottom's kind of filled with a sand, so it's like weighted, so it can stand. It was really kind of nice.
I like
and he was telling me it was cool because I got to talk to him a bit about it, and he's like, yeah, like these, when you make toys, like these are made in China. It's like when you make them, they have to go through like every country you're bringing them into. They have to go through like a rigorous process that you have to pay for to like make sure it's not toxic and not this and that. And it's like, he's like, I had a box of these stuck in like the coast of San Francisco, just like in a crate, because they had to go through like this and that. And they have a tag that says not for ages 8 and under, and like, you're a plushie. Why would it not be 8 and under? It's like, well, if it tears and the kids eat the sand and stuff, then I get in trouble.
Very, very careful with the toys.
It was very interesting. Like, some of the things you don't think about when it comes to merchandising. Like us, we just want to get like a 3D printer and make toys and go, ha ha ha.
That'd be amazing.
Here's your Alan Rickshaw figurine, not action figure, but figurine.
Yeah, they wouldn't be plushies though.
So god, no. Unless we like sew them ourselves.
Plushy old wizard.
That'd be kind of fun though. We should make plushies for like the next comic. I'm not saying why yet, but we should make plushies for it.
Probably could.
You'll find out why in a few months, once stuff gets going. And stuff is kind of going. I'm not sure how much can we talk about this.
Probably not at all. But good things are coming.
Next topic.
But we can't say too much yet.
Basically, I've been busy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we've both been very busy.
Yes.
We shouldn't have brought it up. Now it's like your thing in the corner in the TTC show where it was like a secret.
Oh yeah, don't bring that up.
And you never told anyone what the secret was.
I kind of forgot what it was myself.
Oh, is that why I never got answered?
It's still out there somewhere. I don't think it's important anymore though. It's one of the things that's like when a friend's trying to tell you a story and they keep interrupting, and someone else keeps interrupting your friend, is like, and your friend's like, oh my god, I was at Burger King last night, and oh hey Tina, how's it going? Oh, I'm telling that story. Okay, so I walked to the Burger King. Bill, what's going on? And then this whole time you're like, God, what happened at Burger King?
It's so exciting.
And it's like, oh, it's Whopper Wednesday. And you're like me, I'd be happy because I like Whopper Wednesday. But I'm trying to think of the common people. They'd just be like,
I wouldn't be happy unless it was Wednesday right now. Because if he was telling the story and it was like a Friday, then it's like...
Yeah, that's true. People are calling me out why am I not wearing a hat, because that hat is damn hot.
Yeah, my studio is the hottest room in the house.
It is. We turned off the air conditioning for this episode.
Yeah, I have a lot of windows up here, so the heat just kind of
this is like, what, episode 30?
Well, I can open that skylight.
Was it episode 33 or something like that? Like 34? Like, we haven't had a summer episode yet.
Yeah.
Right? We started this in like the fall.
Well, technically summer is, I think, June 22nd.
No, it's hot up there. It's summer. I'm not going to talk about the weather, but anyway, that's why I don't wear the hat at the moment. The other half is, I guess I never really, like, I enjoyed the hat, the new one, but it hasn't, it just hurts me thinking about my old hat and where it is. I seriously want to go approach the manufacturers and be like, dude, can you, like, just make one more?
Yeah, I know that feeling.
It's like you want to be mature about it, because like you lose something, you want to be like, well, the worst things could happen. Yeah. Like you want to like move on, but it's like never have I ever found something like a product or a piece of clothing that I identified with so well. That's just I saw it and I knew it had to be mine, and it was cozy and comfortable, and it's just like Losing, like, it's so dumb. I don't know how it disappeared. It was just gone on one laundry trip.
Yeah.
I've never really recovered. But then I'm like, oh, worse things could happen. Like, you have your health and all this good stuff.
I know.
That's great.
It's hard, though. Like, I mean, it wasn't as personal as your hat, but I lost my favorite black sweater yesterday at the movies.
Oh, really?
Like, it was one of these, we went
was it worth
it? I don't know. We went to see The Dictator.
Oh, okay.
With Sacha Baron Cohen. It was fun. But yeah, I don't know. The sweater I could wear with anything, and it just lasted forever. Like, you barely had to clean it. But, like, now it's gone, and I was moping afterwards.
Yeah. No,
I'm like, it's just clothes. It was $20.
Well, same thing in the movie theater. I lost one of my favorite scarves. Not the one Heather made. It was before that one. But I had this like thin. I did a random trip because like back when I had roommates, they were trying to make me classy, so they took me to H&M to like wear clothes.
So they got your hair straightened
and attract women. So we went to H&M and I found this scarf that was interesting. It was a thin, long scarf, but it was warm when you bunched it. It was like thin. It was kind of black and white checkered with like little elements of red. So I'm like, it's like my Sin City scarf. You know? But like it was a neat little design, and I wore it all the place, and then it just fell in a theater somewhere. And just how do you find a black and white, like a dark scarf in a dark movie theater behind a seat maybe?
Exactly
like it may have fell because stadium seating in theaters, and it may have fell forward behind a chair.
Yeah,
like, that was just it, you know. So then, and I've lost many things. Like I've lost. I had an older hat that before, you know, I wasn't doing videos at the time, but it was in university. I had this hat that was kind of like. Not it wasn't like a triangle or a pyramid, but kind of like it was a rectangle that shrunk to a smaller rectangle. But it wasn't like a tip, it was kind of like a square top. And it was a winter hat that I wore everywhere, and it was just one day on the bus. You know, it fell when I fell asleep, I fell in my bag or something.
You fell asleep a lot on the bus.
Yeah, I lost I lose everything.
You lost some
I lost
big
my
stuff
PDA,
on the...
but remember those? Back in the day before we had data phones that you could like, write things on? I bought a PDA just so I can write ideas, because I used to write all my ideas in little paper like dollar store booklets.
It's heartbreaking.
But the problem was like I'd write so many ideas and then I wouldn't be able to read them after a while because all these are written rapid fire and like
he's a writer, but he can't spell. He doesn't read, and he's
can't
got
read
the
my
most
own
atrocious
writing.
handwriting ever.
Because I'm so grateful for computers, everyone can read it.
But he's got good ideas, so.
Well, it's like I'd fill out these like dollar store booklets, but never get around to transcribing them to computer or something else that lasts longer. And I just have piles of these little dollar store notebooks full of random ideas that like I haven't touched it, and I can't even read them anymore because it's like most of my writing is gestural, where it's like I'd look at it and be like, I remember where I was and what I wrote at that moment looking at these scribbles.
Okay, so wait, you're not like looking so much at the words, you're kind of like looking at an image. And
so I'm looking at
so
this
you could just draw a symbol and then suddenly
yeah, if I thought of a fun idea and I was like at the post office, I'd draw like a picture of like this is just me making it up now, but it's like I draw like a picture of an envelope and like a hippo and like something else. And let's say the funny idea was about like, I don't know, the roller coaster has mustard in it. You know, whatever.
Wow.
I could ideally write a roller coaster with mustard in it, or I could just draw an angry face, and then I'd be like, "Why did I draw this at the post office?" Oh yeah, because I thought about mustard in a roller coaster.
Weird.
So it's kind of like that for me. Like a lot of my writing is like reference, even though it is actually what I wrote, but I can't read it all. I'm like, what is this? When did I write this? But now I have so many of those that's just like. Ugh. So many lost ideas. That's like all of my like college ideas are gone.
Wow.
So now I only have like post-college depression ideas.
All the optimistic stuff is gone.
Yeah, now that I know what the world is really like. Now that I've been through that. I'm out of the rat race.
Our harsh living. Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, just going back to it, like we lose wonderful things on buses. And you go to the lost and found and nothing ever comes up.
Yeah, or you ask and they stare at you.
Or they stole it.
Like,
So my hope is, I hope someone found the hat and is wearing it.
That's what kills me about the sweater. I'm like, if someone just finds it and chucks it in the garbage, it's like,
yeah,
but it's
I'm
such
like,
a great, comfy sweater.
I would rather
and it's like, it was like the magic pants from the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. It's like you could wear it with anything and it would look great. It's like, you just put it on. Was? Yeah, they were like magic pants.
I thought the pants like saved them from their like domestic issues.
The pants gave them the confidence to save themselves because they looked amazing in the pants.
They were that good.
Yeah.
All I know is the guy from the dad of the girl, like the heavier girl who wears the pants. So it's like, oh, it's amazing they fit her. Like, that's the whole point. But like she has like a dad issue because like he has a new family and stuff, and so. But the dad was the dick from Billy Madison. You know the guy, that guy.
don't remember.
He's the guy who basically is the main enemy for Billy Madison. So throughout Charlie and Pants, the whole time, every time I see him, I keep thinking of, oh, gross, you see that guy's balls? Yeah, they were weird looking.
I'm getting some trigger memory, but...
Because that was one of the lines from Billy Madison, so I can't watch Traveling Pants with a straight face whenever he shows up.
Okie doke.
Though, he's also in Cabin in the Woods, and he's pretty phenomenal in that, too.
You're just like...
Yeah, I don't know his name. He's in, like, a lot of, like, dramas, but I only remember him as being, like, a dick from an Adam Sandler movie.
I like the Adam Sandler villains. They're so ridiculous.
Yeah, they're so horrible. Shooter McGavin is classic.
Like, they're such jerks.
Is your stuff lookable yet?
It's getting there.
Should I show them what you're doing?
Dar if you want to.
Let's switch over. Camera 2.
Let's see if we can set
See
this
what
properly.
Katie's gonna do.
Oh, see, it's an orange. It's hard to see, but I'm going to be inking it in. But we're doing I'm drawing a new character for the Silly Kingdom series. I don't know if you can see too well, but I'm going to start throwing inks on.
Yeah. Well, these are still concept work, so nothing.
Yeah, nothing
in sand
final.
just yet. Or stuff. Nothing in sand yet.
nothing built
Nothing
in
locked
sand.
And tissue that will flow in the wind just yet.
Yes.
Calhoun says nice.
Thanks, Calhoun.
What's up, Calhoun? Do we tell Calhoun the good news? We're like selling crazy amounts of books.
The Cautionary Fables.
Cautionary Fables and Fairy Tales is doing pretty good, especially well at TCAP.
Yeah, it sells out at every show we go
Yeah,
to.
we've been selling out pretty good. There's people who get into it and they're like, ah, look at that. It's got lots of stories in it. It's got lots of different art styles, lots of different writers, and it's do we have a copy here we can show off? We need the accessible copies of things. You've moved your whole office. Okay, here's gonna go find it. Cautionary Fables and Fairy Tales. It's a solid collection of many. There we go. Well, bam-tos. Look at all that. It's book-fantastic.
Book-fantastic.
And people, just coming up asking about it. I'm like, it's full of like lots of short stories from different characters, and some more known, some obscure. You're bound to get a kick out of it. So.
Like us.
So check it out.
A couple obscure Canadians.
CFFT.
Uh-huh.
Big Cartel, CFFT. Look that up.
Dot Big Cartel.
And you should be able to find it. And order it for your friend. Edna says, can I has a copy for free? I'll be your best friend. Moving on.
You can read one if you come to our house or to a convention.
Yeah, if you come to the con, we can hook you up if you pay us money.
But we don't control the Big Cartel.
We do not. What's going on? Well, we're talking about Shoesters. We'll check that out. Is it too soon to talk about Avengers? Has everyone seen it by now? Shaggy, if you type in Scott Pilgrim hat on Etsy, it comes up with a hat a little bit like your old one as far as I remember.
Oh yeah, 'cause it's got like a little snail hat or something.
Maybe. See, the thing is, I don't want the... Like, I walk around, Black Eyes Angel says no Avengers. Orange Fruit says no. Orange Fruit says yes.
Orange Fruit can't make up her mind.
Okay. Callahan says Avengers is great, and this is talk. Now... says I haven't seen it yet. Okay. We'll give you guys a bit more time. I'm just going to say this.
You've got 5 minutes.
Go. Download it. Let's get through it. Don't worry. We all enjoyed it. We all had a good chuckle and a kick out of it.
It was fun.
We're all retold, reimposed. A lot of the critics and stuff will be saying basically the same thing you might be thinking. It's like a lot of the enemy, kind of the antagonistic side of the story is a little like, oh, they're just kind of, take over the world kind of thing. But it's not about that. It's about the basic premise is what happens when we bring all these heroes together into one place. And that's the reason you see the movie. You don't see it for a great kind of, the evil has such good reasons for being evil. Like that.
That's kind of like an aside.
I kind of got hung up on that because I'm at this point in my readings watching, whatever you want to call it, where I'm just really tired of, I want to take over the world, bad guys. And so I do want a little more, and I like to understand why a villain is doing something. The Avengers is not that movie, but it doesn't make it bad because of that. Because the point of the movie is let's have a simple conflict, and let's have fun with the characters.
You really can't spoil the Avengers. It's just like superheroes.
Yeah. Like if I had any qualms with the movie, that was kind of it. Being like, okay, the bad guys are just kind of bad guys, and it's easy. But it kind of had to be at this stage because if they had a crazy,
but it's like the classic comics. So
yeah, I guess. Yeah. So I'll give them that one. I'm not going to rant on it any further. But basically, that's my only kind of gripe with it. But the other thing, there's one strange thing in the movie.
You said you're gonna give people some time, and now you're just going right.
No. This does not foil the plot. You've seen the trailer. New York, though I think it was actually like Boston where it was shot, but it doesn't matter. New York is like blowing up and stuff like that. Cars. There's one weird thing I noticed, and let's see if you noticed it too. When it's all these like miscellaneous shots of people running for cover and ducking and running away, there's this one longer shot on this like cafe lady.
There's this girl that I keep seeing, and she's the one. Yeah,
she's like
she shows up all the
and
time.
normally that would be it, just and run away. But no, it was walk, go into the door, close the door.
Close up on her, yeah.
Zoom
you know
in,
she's
and she's like this blonde, like not Starbucks, but she's like a cafe waitress, and like I'm like that was curious, like that was kind of lengthy.
There's certain movies where you're like, so who are you related to?
Like, or
that
did
you're
she win
in
a
this
contest?
Shot? Yeah.
And then after everything's cleaned up, because stuff's gonna happen, she comes back out and is all like, and I thought like, is she supposed to be like Captain America's love interest in the sequel for Captain America or something? Because
they don't meet.
No, but like it felt like she was gonna run up and be like, Cap, you saved New York, yummy nummies, or something like that, and they'd like reenact that war scene where someone ducks a lady,
like turns the head,
like the old World War II picture of like the sailor dude and kissing the lady, and it's like classic. And you figure they would have like reenact that or something, but they don't. It's just that's kind of it, and she may have shown up in like a news clip at the end, kind of like Shaun of the Dead when they show like lots of different news clips and stuff. It was like they kind of have that kind of. So I'm wondering, like, is she gonna show up in like Captain America 2, and she's like, I was there when you saved me, and I wanted to give you something.
This coffee.
this coffee. It was just really
I crushed
weird.
the bean with my own hands.
Yeah. With the tension of the moment, I went,
go.
And it was just something that stood out as strange to me. I'm like, who is she, and is she like? I don't know. So if you guys noticed her, like, don't go looking for her. It's gonna be pretty
now they're
obvious.
gonna see her.
It's gonna be like in the last like 20 minutes of the movie or something. But like, don't go looking for her. But I don't know. It was just very strange, And like, I don't want to assume things. Like, did she win a contest, or did she like
contest of life?
If she was important or something? Because it was too short to be like, we want to give you what it feels like to be the common man in this situation. Like, this is what the real effects of New York being attacked by aliens is like. It was too short for that, but it was too long for just a simple like extra, She had more screen time than Stan Lee, basically.
She did.
She basically had that. That's what she did.
Yeah.
She should get paid more than Stan Lee.
She should just run Marvel.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she's gonna be in the next event. Maybe she's like, I'm Moth Woman because the coffee splashed me and it was infected with Skrull.
What?
And this is Marvel, so it's cool, right? Nothing has to make sense. Oh. So anyway, that's no spoilers. It was just something that stood out as odd to me. It's curious. Quite most curious.
Yes.
Most baffling. It shouldn't distract you.
Funny that you noticed that, though, because that did bug me, too.
But you should be into the movie, right? You're like, yeah, but then it's like, that was too long. That's weird.
I remember, like, in the newest Indiana Jones, there's this one scene where it's Indy and Shia LaBeouf sitting in a cafe, and the whole time center frame there's this woman, and you can't help but staring at her because she's right center frame, and she's like tossing her hair around, like and she's like she's pretty, but I'm like, so who is she that she's just like
what's her
the
story?
center point of interest in the scene that I'm not even paying attention to these guys because I'm just staring at this kind of quasi blurry woman in the background.
Yeah, you're like, huh.
I'm like, I shouldn't be paying attention to her because I should be interested in these guys, but
I don't know. So that's my review of Avengers. There's a weird coffee lady.
Who goes, oh!
Who goes, oh! See if you guys can figure that out for me. I don't know. There's gotta be like an animated GIF somewhere of like, what?
All her.
I'm not that observant, but someone else must have noticed. Other things watched. We recently saw Being Elmo.
Oh yeah. I was talking about that a little bit last week.
Yeah. Well, that's why I want to bring it up. I was watching.
Heather was saying you watched it and you were like, he got into Jim Henson's Studio 25. I give up. And I'm like, you're turning what? 27 maybe. I think you've done good stuff in your youthful career
my
so
idol,
far.
And they haven't been like, hey, work.
Who's your
for
idol?
Me. I don't know. I'm working on it.
You can't meet him.
Changing it every 2
until
years.
you know.
Yeah, I keep switching it around.
If you met John Lasseter, would you talk to him like, hi?
Rub his forehead.
Yeah, see, that's why the universe hasn't made that happen yet.
Like, John Lasseter, I just want to lick your face.
Oh my god.
And it's like, ah.
That's why this isn't happening yet.
It's like, who let him in the studio? My sister thought being Elmo was too long, says Idnis. Oh. What did we think, though? Let's find out. So we both saw it on 2 separate occasions.
Yes.
When did you watch it?
One evening. I was just exhausted.
Okay, you had it on like Netflix or something.
Yeah,
I watched it on Apple TV. Look at me.
Fancy.
It's not mine, boy. It's interesting. A lot of people are all like going crazy about how amazing it is. You know where I'm like leading this.
I you know what? I think it's because a lot of people like me, and I mentioned this last week as well. It's you kind of assumed that the puppeteer behind being Elmo was maybe, you know, I don't want to say someone who, like, you didn't know he was so invested in puppeteering all the way through that he actually made puppets, put on his own show, went to schools. Like, he was in love and still is in love with puppetry, and that's, you know, it was very much his passion, is what made it very interesting. It wasn't like, you know, I'll you know, go into acting and maybe I'll try this, and there's a thing for this, so maybe I'll try this thing instead. It was like he loved
puppets all along,
puppeting and puppeteering and just fulfilling that dream, and you know, you can't help but root for the guy because it's like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great. No, it's well put together. It's a good eye opener. It's interesting just to see the story and how you get excited for the guy and how it works out. But then there's some strange stuff later on that isn't very subtle.
The family stuff?
Yeah, the family stuff is interesting.
The family stuff makes sense.
They don't talk about it really. They try to glaze over it.
Well, they want to make it light, but they also mention too, and you know, they mentioned with Jim Henson as well, that he separated from his wife as well, and I get that it's like you're so invested in your art that it's like you just can't be there for that other person, and it's sad, and it's like that. You know, and it sounded like they were still on good terms, like Jim and his wife, but it was like, you know, ultimately she needed someone to be there. I guess I
entirely understand that. What I gather from the doc is puppetry destroys families.
No, it's
there's so many cases.
It's it's not puppetry. It's such a bigger issue, but it comes down to that, you know.
It's the dedication to your art.
Juggling your art, which is, you know, the essence of you, and then juggling, like, you know, responsibilities to being a good family member and a good friend, and it's like, you know, I mean, I try and get a lot of good work done. Sometimes friendships suffer because I can't go out to see people all the time, so I have to make sure I work extra doubly hard to be a good friend when I have time off, because otherwise it's like you're working so hard all the time, people don't see you, and then you kind of some relationships slip away, and like I understand that side of it.
And the saying, what do you put most of your time into, your art or your family? And I feel like at this stage right now, I'm more invested in art, like my craft.
Same. Like I don't have any kids right now. You know, Jerry's very much on the same page as me, that we're just trying very hard to work because we're in our 20s. So it's like we're just going to work really hard now, and then.
But it's kind of crazy because it's like that battle of like, at what point do you have kids then? Because do you want to be like in your 40s when you first have a kid, or in like a lot of people have this like coming to mind later on. It's like I just push it away because I don't want to think about it.
So you're lucky though. You're a guy, so you can have kids until you're like 90. You know, for women, it's like, you know, and it's something. Some of my friends who are having kids or entering their 30s, it's like, you know, you've only got like a 5-year window to have a kid. You know, by the time you're 35, it gets really difficult by then, so you should really start thinking about it. It's like, I don't feel like a grown-up. I can't think about having kids. Like, I'm trying to make comics.
I'm trying to make
what? And I mean,
I've had like the roommates who like had the plan, like they're like, I've got the 5-year plan, so if I'm not married I'm going to be married by here and have kids by here, so I won't be this much older than my kids, and this and that. And it's like, it's so steadfast and like plotted. I'm just like, I don't even know where my next meal's coming from. I can't think of like raising a family. And I wonder, like, because our folks, I won't say like they had us like early, like
they had us young,
20s or so.
But I mean that was pretty normal. You know, our folks had us at 22.
Yeah, and like me thinking of that, I'm like, like it's the mentality has changed now. Our family and like the work world and careers have become a lot more predominant, and it's like that is what you do until 30, and then you start thinking about family. So it's kind of weird to think like, at 20 something they had us, and I wonder like how much did that detract from what they want to actually do. But they seem to find a kind of decent balance where they were able to work at home with us around.
Yeah, our folks, like I mentioned last week, started their own business making mascots. So they made costumes for. They were very much working in their own, just very artistic, interesting. Field where it was like you work your own hours, you're at home, you can take breaks when you want. You also pull a lot of all-nighters. I get doing that too.
But it's like I think like now if like let's say like I don't know where I have the kid, it's like right now I would have to quit and like get a practical job that's guaranteed money, because I do not have the foundation to do that in my chosen career path. And it's a scary thought to think, like, it amazes me that they were able to do that, like have kids and continue in a creative, and like it was a different landscape too, like there was a lot of money into promotion and stuff, and like people and like mascots was kind of this interesting, there was no internet yet, so it was like having a big cartoony thing jumping around in real life was kind of like a big deal.
Yeah, and it helped that, like,
your school, your company, your charity, like whatever.
Yeah, and like our dad was also the main mascot for the Toronto Blue Jays, so I think that also would help, that it's like you're also advertising that, hey, I'm this character and I also make costumes, so like check out how awesome this costume is.
The idea here would be
it's also the advertisement, I feel.
So you'd have like a locked comic deal with one company and be like, this is my work, but I also do this. Everyone's like, oh, the one who does this also does this kind of thing. Like, that'd be kind of a similar situation. Or in your case, storyboard.
But I mean, it was very unique, because a lot of our friends, their parents would work the regular kind of office jobs.
It'd be like the 9 to 5. They would have to have like after school daycare kind of stuff, like programs. We would just go home because they're just already there.
Yeah, and it was like you hanging out. The studio was in the basement, so you might want to press escape so it doesn't go to sleep.
Why is your computer going to sleep?
You might want to fix actually, if we go into settings, you can turn off.
Then you're talking, pretend nothing happened.
Yeah, so I don't remember how we got onto this frame of thought, but very much their entrepreneurship and the creative job really, I feel, inspired us to follow that too, because it was like, hey, we can do whatever we want, create our own. There was no.
Just the right section.
Turn display sleep to like never.
Never.
Yeah, I mean, it was very encouraging to just kind of like follow whatever crazy dream you had to make it work, and they worked so well as a family working too. So
I guess that's what brought us to this. The idea of being able to follow your creative ambition and support the family at the same time.
Well,
and we do see examples of that today with like some comic creators and stuff do both. They're family people, but they also continue their work on comics, which is great and inspiring. It's just, I personally don't have that foundation right now. I've got to like get back in the let's make some food and rent money.
Yeah. Well, we're at that point though where you're like, I need to find a job, so we're trying to figure out what would be a good.
So I'm like, have jobs.
So I'm like, coffee shop, and you're like, no.
It's gotta be great.
I'm like, clothing store. Like, no.
But to go back to being Elmo, the reason I bring this up is they didn't. I won't say they glazed over this fact. They talked about it. They kind of said, first of all, they didn't go into his story. They basically just said he meets with his ex-wife. You're like, whoa, wait, what? Like, it was just kind of thrown out there. And then it's kind of like going back to how he feels like they did a piece on how he's kind of feeling bad about not being there for his daughter growing up. And it was just this weird moment where then they come home with the whole camera crew, and it's just like, you get this feeling that she is not happy with any of this. And there's even a shot of her packing her bag,
wearing an Elmo
and
shirt,
looking miserable. And I'm like, something just isn't right with this scene.
Well, she was going to college or something.
And then she has her like sweet 16 birthday thing.
That was cool.
And like it's like a big party, and he shows up with the Elmo cake.
I was kind of like
the thing that tore their family asunder. He brings on a cake, and he has these videos with all these celebrities, and it's like you get the feeling, and this isn't a slight. This is just like what they didn't talk about, but slightly showed. It's like he doesn't know how to communicate, like with his own daughter, and it isn't against him or nothing, but it's just like he brings all these videos of Jack Black saying happy birthday.
Yeah,
but this is the only world he knows.
Again, though,
and the doc doesn't want to talk about it. Okay, that's the thing.
But
that
the doc is also showing you things that are interesting to an audience that is interested in celebrity and stuff. So they're not going to show him sitting down and having a conversation. They're like, look, it's Jack Black on the screen.
It's like he made up for all of it. It's like, Jack Black, Whoopi, Elmo's on the screen.
No, but I mean that's it. Like, the whole documentary is being Elmo, so it's they'll show the Elmo cake. They'll show. They're not going to show every single moment. So I mean that could very well be edited in too. They just want to focus on this one aspect.
On the happier stuff.
Life is full of happy and sad stuff too. But it's like when
I think documentary, I think hard-hitting truths. And they're kind of like, let's just get over this scene quick and back to Elmo. Yay, he's happy, he's fun. It was just like very strange, very curious, but oh well.
I find if you look into a lot of kids programming though, it's like a lot of the heartbreak of the people working behind it and just the long hours you put into it and like just the creative trying to make something and make it honest and make it good, and just the tortured artists who are even working on.
But that was kind of the irony.
Family-friendly shows that are meant to make you happy.
The irony they slightly pose is like he's hanging out with all these other kids around the world at these like big events,
was sad, yeah.
But not his own like kid. It was kind of that kind of weird sacrifice, and then you got to sit down and think, what is most important to you? And clearly for him, the puppetry is the most important part of his life. Being able to reach out to
a lot of people.
And it's just an interesting
but again,
choice.
It is one side we're seeing.
Yeah, like what do you want to value more? And it's no one can say what is more important. It's tricky. Like there will be people who like say, well, obviously family comes first, kind of thing. Like that's the thing. But does it?
What if your family's jerks?
His whole family are a bunch of jerks.
No, but
he was right. It's just interesting. It's interesting. So I cannot say, because I have not had to make such a hard choice. But I feel like at the moment, what would I choose? I don't know. It's tricky. This is a deep.
It's honestly a
deep episode.
Of this is very heavy stuff. You're dredging up.
Who's got a joke?
Anybody?
I'm looking at you now. I share. No share. That joke.
You didn't even pronounce their name.
That's why I picked that one. I thought it'd be humorous. Make your kids sell Silly Kingdom to their friends. Says in this. Thank you in this.
Yeah, thank you.
It's like New York says. Oh, New York washer was here. New York was here. Wait. New York washer.
Okay, there's this funny thing with the dictator where it's like he's constantly making up these stupid names, and it's like he's just kind of reading them off of signs and making them his names. That's kind of like you trying to pronounce that as an actual name. It's like, my name is Max. Maximum occupancy is 50 people. I'm trying to make that a name.
I might check that out. I don't need to see it in theaters because I find most comedies I don't because
and you'll lose a sweater.
Yeah, I'll lose something valuable. I'm not going to the theater anymore.
I'm never going to movies again. And it was a tiny theater at the Rainbow. I'm like, there's maybe 20 people here.
I might check it out later on DVD. But speaking of the theater, I moseyed in today on my way over here just because the big deal, the big news in Toronto is our local big stupid theater, famous players, Scotiabank theme, whatever, has the new Coca-Cola The Choice Is Yours machine.
That's what you were rambling about on the phone.
Coca-Cola, the time is now to decide.
Half the time I can't hear you on the phone just because you're walking around outside and you're talking loud and there's traffic, and then it's just some weird thing you've discovered.
I forget what it's called. It's like Coke Mix Up the Decision. It's called something like that. It's some dumb name. But basically how it works is this. Like, you buy your cup at the theater, and you're thinking, oh, fountain drink, that's great. But no. First of all, it's a touch screen, and it has all your favorite drinks from Coke there, and it's all like Fanta, Coke, Sprite, you don't care, right? So you click one, and then these modifications arrive. And all these buttons of, like, orange Coke, and raspberry Coke, and strawberry Coke.
No,
and it's like, whoa. And basically what's going on, and this is kind of the experimental phase, and they'll probably just keep doing it, because some of the local burger shops have it too. This Coke Fusion Free Mix Backflip, whatever it's called, is basically, this is the genius part. Now, let's forget about marketing for a second. Let's talk about science. Like a printer. You have a printer with your red, your green, your blue, and black, and white, whatever. These machines have just flavors in them. And Coke head honchos can be like, oh, people out there want to try some grape with their Sprite. They will digitally be like sent to the theaters, all these theaters, the code for here's a new button that will now make you raspberry Sprite.
Crazy.
And I'm like, this is really interesting. This isn't the replicator just yet. Star
Trek, I think about that, yeah.
Star Trek's
on
its way.
There.
Between the 3D printer and these Coke mix-up machines, whatever, we're getting there.
I can get a
But it's the idea that they can invent new flavors. As long as they have the pre-existing flavors in the machine. But they can invent new mixes whenever the hell they want. So if it's like, I don't know, Nestea half and half. And it's like, now there's half lemon and half crab in your Nestea. Because those flavors exist
don't think those would work well
in the machine. And now it exists everywhere. Because the guy
crab
was
Nestea. Gross.
It's like seafood. The Nestea plunge with the crabs in the pond. This is basically what it's like. So it's like, now you're...
the guy's like, he's got crabs.
If she takes the plunge, it's like, You're like, Nestea crab. You asked for it. It's the guy on the commercial. I don't get it, but alright, if it sells, bring it. But this can happen now, and it's really interesting that it can do this. Like, basically, it's the digital machines that they can send new flavors anywhere as long as the ink cartridges or the flavor cartridges exist. So if, say, the combination of, it's kind of like Jelly Bellies, how it's like, there's still infinite combinations, because they're like, oh, if you want the pina colada, you get
just chew these
coconut and the banana, or whatever the hell. But you can still mix, the banana with something else that they haven't decided is right yet, So new flavors can exist, and they're just digitally distributed. This is interesting to me. So we're getting to the replicator. All we need is the 3D printer to make your cup for you. So like, I want a cup shaped like a crab for my Nestea crab lunch. It goes layer by layer. It goes, you get your crab cup, get your crab tea, and go to the movies. You might lose the cup while there, though.
Yeah, I think so.
You might drop it back on the seat.
Make sure it's neon.
But yeah, this is what we're coming to. So not Star Trek just yet, but we're getting there.
This is exciting.
We are getting there. The future is now.
So
and the past was then.
What flavors did you get?
I just went for the orange Coke because that's the one I saw in the article. And I was like, that sounds stupid. So I went for it. And it was like orange and Coke. I don't know what else to say.
But I do that all the time at fountains anyway. Like, I'll just sample everything in one.
Well, the difference being it would be more concentrated, I assume. Like, the flavor wouldn't be like, now I have to mix, strawberry Fruitopia with, this, which are two kind of like set flavors. It'd be more of just the strawberry element that goes into Fruitopia. Would instead go into Sprite.
Yeah, and don't mix root beer, because as soon as you do that, it'll just
taste like root beer ruins a swamp mix. That's just saying. Orange Dr. Pepper is the best, says New York was here. New York washa.
No,
they have a printer that can print circuit boards, says Black Ice Angel. I watched a British news piece on the printer that made a bicycle.
That's nutty.
They could print bicycles now, so you're like, I'm late for work.
Maybe it can print you a new job.
Maybe. I think a lot of people are going to be out of jobs because of these printers. Supposedly they're like, we're going to print buildings in the future.
Oh, man.
Which is basically you get like, powder that when mixed with lasers, it becomes concrete, and it just goes, now I want a bay window.
What's like paper jam like?
Yeah, you get like a bike jam in your friggin' bike printer. It's like they're trying to pull this thing out. Hell.
All chains and oil.
With the future comes more problems. Don't worry, guys. This isn't going to be settled.
I know. Then with more problems comes more jobs.
Yeah, someone has to fix it.
Or more computers.
Because like I went to see, what was it again? Fifth Element, which is still awesome. A little hammy now.
It's pretty hammy.
We'll talk about why it's hammy, but honestly, it's still fun. It's beautiful. Great soundtrack, great acting, silly, excellent writing, the design.
Just a really fun adventure.
Really fun movie. But there's a sequence where, what's his name? Gary Oldman, who's just basically phenomenal in anything he does. He's the guy with he's Zang or Zorg or whatever his name is. Zorg is. And he's telling Bilbo Baggins why he is like all the money and stuff, and he's like, when there's a disaster, all these little robots come on out, and and someone had to like make these robots and more jobs. So whenever there's destruction, more jobs are made. So it's a good thing. But then he like chokes on the cherry pit, and there's no robot to save him.
Where's that little elephant thing?
Well, he calls out this little weird elephant slug that just like looks at him and he's like,
and he's like, what, pound my back or something?
Like,
I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
And then he just goes whop and like knocks it out, and it's great. But it's just like that idea of like, with all these innovations, we're still gonna have problems no matter how good things are. So I look forward to that. Look for your bike not working.
Yeah, it only goes sideways. What?
Well, like the potential for like writing though is interesting once like printers become more commonplace. It's like I imagine like having like in your car, you can have the printer and you can like call up the computer to print what you need at the moment. Like, I need a key to do this. Or like, the interesting idea I thought of, and don't steal it, is like kind of like this one-shot pistol, but it's made of such like, inflammable or whatever materials that once you shoot it, it just burns up and like disappears in your hand. So it's like the perfect crime.
Oh.
So it's like
you could just throw the gun at someone. It also makes noise.
Yes, it plays your walking away in slow motion music for you. I'd like walking along to And we're back.
Alright.
And this says, I lost my job to the radio station 4 years ago to a computer.
Computers.
After things got automated, they didn't need people to click and flip and switch anymore.
Evil.
Toyota hires workers to help make their automated assembly line more efficient because the machine can't think for themselves, says Black Ice Angel, and I say, yet, Skynet is coming. Mm-hmm. For those of you Keith and the Go fans, hooah!
Hooah! Humans united against robots.
Humans united against robots. Get informed. We're on phase what now? 3? Or?
Yeah, we're it's getting kind of scary.
It's happening. Man, the freakiest thing ever is it's either called like, oh god, it's there's this military demo or whatever. Their demos are fascinating. They have like the exoskeletons like Ripley that you can just lift stuff that's 10 times stronger than you. But the creepiest one is this walking thing that has like these like cow legs or whatever, and people push it and it goes and it adjusts its own.
It moves
balance.
like a living animal.
It is terrifying. Between that and the cheetah, which was on the treadmill running, I'm like, we are done.
It's that, and
when
then
these
that, like...
robots show up, we are done. Like, they can adjust their balance, they can walk on ice, they can run faster and carry more weight.
And they have little cat ears that actually, like, have emotions.
It's fascinating, but it's terrifying. It reminds me of Metal Gear 4, how they have those big cow machines. I don't know what they're called because I haven't really played it. Freaky. But they make these cow noises, and they're so unnerving because they're just, like, running through the city with, like, turrets and going... And you're like, frig, they're nearby. And they have these giant, like, weird, leathery legs, and it's just creepy. Anyway, that's happening.
Gotta make friends with the robots.
Yeah, don't black out the sky like in the Matrix.
That
was
because stupid.
Idiots.
Maybe they're solar powered.
Fortunately, all the robots are solar powered, so we've got a solution. Like, right.
Oh wait, they adapted.
They adapted outlets and batteries. Oh, balls. I saw the robots at Disneyland says New York washout. Yeah,
there's like
they creep me out.
There's a garbage can robot that rides around.
That's terrifying. Is it in the future section? Does it look like R2?
Yeah, maybe. Just like a little tiny robot thing.
And this is, well, as long as I have my crab tea as well.
Yeah, you have your crab tea. As freaking Abraham Lincoln from the Disney ride comes up on that cow robot.
If it was Abraham Lincoln from Disney and the legs of the cow robot, that'd be freaky.
Yeah.
He's like running around Disney. What the hell? It's a climbing walls, really. This is the freakiest Disney trip ever. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, but whatever. I don't want to be on record as saying I don't like it.
Yeah, because the robots are watching us right now.
What else we got going on? Yeah, Schuster, Avengers. Test readers, savvy. What the? I don't know what I said
your to-do list.
Yeah, no, I'm just like... Oh yeah, so coming up this weekend, we're heading out to the Vancouver
Comic Arts Festival.
Festivities. We're heading out to VanCaf. TV dinner beat me to it, saying VanCaf. Callahan also says VanCaf in lowercase. We're going to VanCaf.
You get half points.
Unimportant. We're going out, heading out to good old Vancouver, BC, British Columbia, West Coast, Canada. Excited. Very exciting. And it's going to be interesting because like we get this email, which is all like, hey, you want to be on this comedian panel? I'm like, what? So read more into it. The email basically like lays out. It was like, I don't know if they changed it yet, but at the time it's like, funniest comic ever. It's like join
pressure.
Join 5, comics. And I'm reading it like I'm trying to think, do they mean like comic creators, like comics, like they make these comics? Mm-hmm. As they like, go in front of the audience and show the writing process and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I could do that. And then it says, these comedians will be like making the funniest comic ever and have to get the approval of the judges. I'm like, wait. So I'm invited on this panel of comics. Am I like up there with, Vancouver's opener at Yuck Yucks?
They give you 15 minutes on
Johnny Silly Billy's gonna be here, and followed by
Yuck.
Followed by Comedy Central's hit comedy host Billy Laugh-A-Lot, you will.
What is with these names?
And there's Shaggy who rose to the kingdom. Anyway, I'm like, what am I getting into? So I write them back, and I'm like, am I in over my head? Like, I write humor, I assume. People get chuckles, but like I'm not really go up there and be like, who wants to laugh? I didn't hear you.
You go up there and it's just like, it's quiet and it's in front of a computer for 20 minutes, just like...
Dude, well, if they want to know the true process, I'll have to, like, go out and, like, experience life.
The screen is up there, you hear people...
They can follow me, and then I'll, like, see something, and I'll, like, write something funny about
your phone.
that. I'm like... And I'll walk around and come home. I'll check Facebook a bit. But, supposedly, I'm going to be on this comedian panel on Sunday. So if you're hanging around...
he needs all the support he can get.
You need to see someone crash and burn on stage. You know, you can witness it live. It'll be a treat.
I'm sure it'll be good.
Like, I feel like... I don't know. I've never really done, like... I've done panels where I've ran panels, usually. Like... And whenever I'm not running the panel, I usually just sit there and say nothing at all. Because I usually let other people talk, because I'm like, I don't want to take their thunder. So I just sit there. So I'm trying to imagine what this panel's going to be like, and if they expect, like, funny, ha-ha, I'm like, eesh.
Well, it's just reading the description sounds like funny, ha-ha.
So I'm like, is this the point where I have to, like, say openly, like, because I feel like all comedians have to be able to say, I am funny, you know, without a doubt. Because otherwise, what business do you have being a comic? Stand-up. But I feel like in writing humor, I don't have to be like, I'm the funniest guy ever. I'm kind of just more like, oh, I think this is silly. I think someone will get humor out of this.
I hope this gives you a chuckle.
It's like, is this where I must now step up and be like, I'm the funniest comic writer there is? You know, I don't know if I'm ready for that responsibility.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. According to Neil Gaiman's speech that he gave to the school, you should just kind of imagine yourself like someone who can do it, and then do what they would do.
So it's like the believe in the me who believes in you kind of situation.
Exactly. Imagine you are the kind of person that is super funny and good at being in front of people, and do exactly what they would do.
Damn it!
Screen fell asleep.
Your screensaver keeps going up.
Yeah.
Don't mind that.
I don't think they can see it. I think they just see us flail
for a minute. It's just us freaking out every time something goes on. I don't know, like, yeah, I can go up there, but if I'm, like, trying to, like, match wit with wit, I'm gonna, like, do those things where I forget names, and it's, like, they're, like, name dropping. And it's, like, kind of, you know, oh, this is so dumb, it's kind of like, and I'm like, I don't know what it's like. I don't do this kind of jokes where it's, like, I can't even make an example of the joke I'm trying to make an example of, you know?
Well, I thought the crab cup was pretty witty.
But it's not, like, a reference, like, oh, it's, like, Charlize Theron's cop at the movies.
Well, you gotta name drop celebrities. You don't have to name drop celebrities.
Good, because I'm not good at that. If like the joke is someone's like, draw a comic about Lady Gaga, I'm like, oh no, I got nothing. And then I can like do a word pun and be like, I got nothing. Waka waka.
You should just come here and be like an earnest Fozzie Bear type character.
Yeah, I'll just like try to drop these horrible jokes. Black Eye Sandals says if it helps you make me laugh so hard I've cried. Good.
Oh, that's nice.
Got one vote. Meanwhile, New York was here says, oh, I was going to draw Shaggy as another copy, but I forgot.
Oh, copy.
Orange
talk about
Fruit
favorite
says,
animals.
oh, but thank you. Written chapter.
Waka waka.
Whackity-doo.
Wackity-mackity-doo.
Because like that's the thing. Like, I remember you back when we were doing Troublemaker comics, someone wrote on your wall. They're like, "Oh, you're so funny. You should be a comedian."
And I was like, "What?"
And it's like these are different skill sets. Like drawing silly comic and going on stage and being like, "Well, last week I was at the airport." Those are like two very different things. You know, it's a different kind of humor.
I could not do a 5-minute spot or any kind of.
Yeah, like and there's different reasons why like some people are better on stage or some not. Like some people are just terrified of public speaking. I'm pretty much over that. Like I have a weird situation where I'm good at public speaking when I'm in charge of the situation.
Actually, I was gonna say I could do stand-up if I was pitching a board. So it's like my whole stand-up routine is I have a storyboard and then I just pitch it.
Oh, what's that guy's
usually
name?
I can make those funny.
He's a young guy who does
Dimitri,
yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, where he does drawings.
He does drawing pitches and they're really silly.
Yeah, see, I couldn't just go up there and flat out talk. I need to draw with it.
Well, like the weird thing though is this is actually something I want to get into a little bit. As a writer, you know, you've got to write like everything and so I do write stand-up jokes that are intended for that scenario, but not for me to do, for a character to do, and then like you can either have the audience laugh in your story or not laugh.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm kind of versatile in that sense that I do write as much of anything as I can, but not for the purposes of me actually saying these jokes on stage.
Yeah.
So I do have some like jokes in my pocket if I need to, but I'm not ever gonna do it. I don't think. Like I'm not going to Yuck Yuck's amateur night and being like, all right, let's try these out.
You might love it.
Who knows? That'd be weird though. Like because like I fear, like negative response as far as like 1-to-1 negative response.
Oh, then
like
comic is...
delayed negative response is fine when it's like a review being like, that sucked. I'm like, well, that was written like a couple hours ago, so whatever.
But if you say something,
but if it's like live and you've got to back yourself up, I probably couldn't deal with a heckler,
Yeah.
If I'm like, hey, so what did you guys do this Christmas?
Sit down.
I was like, eat my bum. Some guy yells that out, and I'm like,
people are so rude.
You cuss mouth. I hate you. And then I just lose it, and then you see in the news like local amateur comedian and writer of silly doodle books attacked the local man for saying eat my bum. At Yuck Yuck's amateur night. That was actually the funniest part of his set. Wow. And it's like, I don't know if I can handle that. Just like, you suck. Because no one really comes up to you, like, I don't take this as like invitation. No one really comes up to you at like a comic convention being like, I followed your stuff, you're the worst.
Yeah. People are usually pretty nice at conventions.
We're spoiled at conventions.
Well, I feel if you more have like maybe controversial content, people will come up and like call you on it. But if you're just like it's like what can you hate about that? We're just we just want to make you happy.
What could you like? Yeah.
It's like you're so obnoxious.
Like you're going out of your way to hate, be angry. I got nothing. Let's jump back. You basically finished your drawing. This is not an educational show. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I am sorry, folks. Let's see.
Can we say much about this character? You guys can probably gather a lot from him just by looking at him.
A couple things, maybe.
He comes from a country that has a lot of plaid.
Yeah.
Hence the kilt. It's not really Scottish, it's just a lot of
We're going for, we want to make sure we have as much Canadian content in our books.
Yeah.
So one of our kingdoms are strictly like lumberjack themed.
He comes from the lumberjack kingdom, so I don't know how this works for safety, but the whole armor is like plaid and wood.
Basically, we want to scoop up as much CanCon support.
Oh gosh, you put like a maple leaf on his shoulders?
No. It's our weird Canadian nature to jam as much Canadian content.
You should put a maple leaf on his crest.
Is there maple trees out there?
Could be maple trees.
Kingdom.
Yeah.
But would that offend other people? Like, I know, like, here's an interesting thing. Do we have here's my question. Do we have a good wealth of people, how many of you, are you guys from, like, Canada and the States and elsewhere? Are you, like, all from the States? Like, where are you guys from? Call it now. So, if you're USA, put your hands up.
Where are you from?
We got the States.
We can't see your hands, so write it down.
From the States. Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, ayo.
So we got one Canadian. Canada. General term. States.
Okay.
Washington. Man, we've got a lot of American viewers. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, when you see Canadian content in a movie, like, alright, let's put it this way first. So, Avengers. It's like, oh, it's in New York. Are you like, oh, it's set in New York. I got a bit of pride. Do you guys feel that ever? Or are you just like, oh yeah, New York is always getting shot.
Because when we saw Scott Pilgrim, it was like a riot.
When we saw Scott Pilgrim, and it goes, once upon a time in a distant land known as Toronto.
We're just like, ah!
Lost it. The theater rioted. Like, everyone lost their scarf. I swear. It was intense. So, do you in America, where everything is based and all the excitement that happens in LA or Boston or New York, do you ever feel like, oh, Godzilla's coming to New York? Wow, that's strange.
Or is it like, another movie in New York, of course.
Would.
Or, do you know when things say they're in New York, but they're actually filmed in Canada? Do you go,
oh, no, there's an extra question.
Okay. Ignore the second question.
Alright, so straight up, do you guys feel that local pride of, ooh, they decided to film it here? You guys ever get that? I giggle at Portlandia. Mm-hmm. Only Western Washington. Only if it's actually local. Mm-hmm. No, because everything is in New York. And that one time Bigfoot Hunters came to my hometown as Black Guy's Angel.
Oh.
Or California, yeah. So like San Francisco, like you're watching, Vertigo and you're like, bullshit. It's like, I live here, whatever. But when anything has anything remotely Canadian in it, we all lose it up here. Whether it's a flag at like a UN scene, when it's like, the country's been invaded, and we're like, there's a Canadian flag at the UN!
They're like, they're like, the aliens have destroyed Tokyo, New York, Toronto. We're like, Toronto! We're a big city
They
too.
like us. No, because it is few and far between. Because it's in our manga, it's always Tokyo or like Shibuya or something like that.
Osaka.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah. And in America, it's always like LA, New York, Portland,
Washington too.
Should more be Portland. That'd be excellent.
Yeah. More Portland.
And so Canada doesn't really get mentioned much. And there's a series, one of our first manga we read by. I never pronounce his name right, I don't think. Jonan Manabe.
Joji
Manabe, something like that. It is a series like Caravan Kid.
Oh, yeah.
Outlanders is probably more well known. There was mention of like everything's getting blown up, and most of the story takes place in Japan and in space. But there's one scene.
It's aliens come. And
it's basically, if you've ever seen the Earth be screwed over, this is the most ever. Yeah. Outlanders is. Without question, the most alien screw over
the
Earth.
end of the world.
Pretty much.
Well, it's not as bad as Hitchhiker's Guide.
No, that was at least quick.
Okay.
This is like a prolonged Earth gets owned, then mooned, then owned, then owned. They mentioned Canada briefly because they cut over to the States and the president gets the phone call and they're like, they just blew up Canada. And I'm like, yes! No, but yes!
All of it?
They mentioned us, up to the border. Just went,
yeah, how does that work?
And the president's like, this is America, damn it! And then White House blows up. It's great. But at least they mention us in the manga. And the only other time we get mentioned is in Shenmue, if you ever played on Dreamcast.
Shenmue.
Main guy, Ryu, his girlfriend's moving to Toronto. We're like, oh, she's leaving it for us! In the great weird game that was made by BioWare, I think, called MDK2, where there's a scientist with a radioactive toaster, a dog with 6 arms, and a janitor with a spacesuit.
Weird.
It was based. There's a sequence at the beginning cutscene where they go, "Aliens are invading Earth." Good lord, they've invaded Edmonton. Oh, it's Canada. Edmonton got owned.
Hockey.
And it's this weird thing we have in Canada where anytime anything's slightly Canadian, we just lose our minds.
Get excited.
So that being said. For the vice versa, in the sense, when you guys in the States see Canada mentioned, are you like, oh, that's cute, they threw him a bone? Are you ever like that? Whenever they mention Canada, like, oh, those guys up north.
I haven't noticed that much.
Those neighbors to the north.
When I was in Chicago, one person was like, oh, you do realize that we pretend you guys don't exist up there. And I was like,
yeah.
Who are you? Like, what are you talking about?
Which is weird, because Chicago isn't all that different from Toronto.
Well, yeah, because there were these guys who were like, oh, yeah, where are you from? Like, Toronto, like, you don't have an accent.
Yeah. Well, like, look at us. We're owning it.
I don't know.
So, what's your thoughts on Canada? So, if we actually put like a maple leaf on this guy, is that like, oh, look what they're doing? They think they're a country.
What are you talking about?
What? I don't know.
Do you think we're a country?
I sometimes do.
What the heck?
I think we're a pretty decent country.
I'm starting to get these weird vibes from this seat over there.
No, it's not that. It's just always found it interesting. Like, I wonder what other people think, because like there's all this like travel stuff where it's like, oh, if you're traveling to this country, make sure if you're American, make sure you have a Canadian flag, or you get shot or something. It's like, what, really? Like, does the world really like Canada that much? Like, so it's like the backup plan.
Oh.
It's like, what's going on? Like,
we're like the harmless best friend.
Yeah, we're like, come on, guys, don't be like that.
Is that a blue jay?
Is it? No, they go, Jag!
Some angry bird.
Does this mean Silly Kingdom is set in the real world long ago? I say no.
Probably not.
There is, unfortunately, this whole continuity only exists in my mind because not enough things exist. But there is a bunch of different stories I've written in concept that are all actually based in this same reality. We don't say where it is. It will definitely have more of a Euro kind of influence because I really love kind of cobblestone.
We don't have that in Canada.
We have Montreal has a bit of that. But like hilly, like basically the landscape of Kiki's Delivery Service. Mm-hmm. I love the scenery in that movie. I love kind of modernized, cobblestoney, hilly, like cities with elevation and just you can see it from a distance and it looks interesting. And there's like different, there's a bakery somewhere probably. Like I just love that kind of stuff.
Fresh focaccia.
And like even Miyazaki was saying like Kiki's Delivery Service was based on San Francisco and somewhere else which I can't remember.
Milan.
Maybe like something like one of those kind of like seaside kind of towns. Like I know San Francisco is also by the water. It's like it's anything that's like that. So I always kind of like strive to have those kind of elements. I think I'm right. As far as scenery, and that kind of combines them all to be one world. And the other reason why I like doing that is I'm not necessarily a huge fan of like all the convenient stuff happens to the same like family. Like it's like if it was a sequel to Harry Potter, it'd be like about Harry Potter's kid and his magic adventures and all the crap he does. It's like, well, why does his family only get the cool stuff happening?
See, my theory of that though is always like it's not about it could be it's this family happens to have a lot of stuff. It's kind of like my example for it was Aliens. It's like, well, why would you think that Ripley keeps surviving all the time? And it's like the story's about a character who does survive, and that's why it's her story.
Oh yeah, no.
Versus like someone that just happens to be as lucky as hell as you're following them, but it's like you wouldn't be following them unless they were lucky as hell.
I've addressed that in my own mind too. I'm thinking more of the situation of like as far as lineage, it's always like this family always this.
Yeah.
And I like more of the idea of this environment has seen the history. So it's kind of like you will see stories like we've written stuff that is based in the world of Silly Kingdom. We won't really mention connections, but you'll hear some of the same names and see some of the same landscapes, but it's just years later. But it's not like
totally different environment,
and it's not like those characters are like so important that on the way down, like, everyone's still talking about them. It's like, no, this is another generation, another world. And it's like always like kind of that kind of connection, to stories if you can do that. And some series do that, some don't.
I like series that have those little Easter eggs there for someone who will pay attention to the whole universe of the story. So it's not integral to the plot, but it's like, oh, there's like a photo or like a painting of this character that was done like way back.
Yeah. You'll catch things.
Story that's actually in this museum now.
You'll see a half statue that you've seen the whole statue of before in another series. And you're like, oh shoot, that's that. And now Korra, let's go because we love talking about Avatar. Yeah. Korra has a little more of the fanboy side of this, where it is like you will meet the descendants of everyone eventually, kind of thing. Like, oh, that's because she's only like a generation away from them. So like Korra wasn't going to be so separated. That's the other side of the world, and we never see any of the influence of the previous generation. So it is a little more. It is a little fanboyish where we are going to see like, oh, and here's Sokka's kid, and here's.
You saw the last week's, right? Though, where it was like they even brought back like the cabbage.
Yeah, the cabbage reference. So I love that. I was
like, that's amazing.
So
it's like he's gone from like. You guys should watch Korra. We won't spoil it, but it's like they're just always doing things for the fans.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely that. Like I'm not gonna say that. I'm just saying there's kind of different ways to approach lineage and story writing, and I do kind of want to lean more to the environment has the lineage versus the characters have the lineage. So I don't want to be like all the characters are the sons and daughters and granddaughters.
Yeah.
I like having
because then it's like you're awesome just because of your bloodline.
Yeah. And now we had this talk about Spider-Man before. I think it was Gene saying like, oh, if you give too much importance to Peter Parker's parents and why they were killed, then it's like it's not enough that that's his backstory. That he grew up by his aunt and uncle, and that's just his life, and we can accept that. It's like, oh, it was a devious plot, and it's this and that. It's like, oh, now his life is more important than just life.
It takes it out of like context where people can relate.
Yeah,
because it's
like he didn't grow up with his aunt and uncle because it was just an accident happened or something. It was planned from the beginning, because there was a plot and a doctor and a this and that, and it does kind of like add too much, value to like his backstory, and sometimes you just want it to be life. It's like this was why. There's no mystery about it. It was unfortunate, but this is what happened. As opposed to it was planned and destiny.
It's like does he become great because of that one moment in his life later there was an accident, or is it all this build up that brings you towards him? Yeah.
So anyway, somehow we got to this. Well, the bottom line is, they're basically saying Silly Kingdom is based in the real world or not. It's not based in the real world at all. It will have the influence of the real world because there's another series which I've been plotting, which I won't talk about much yet. But there are elements from this world I want to bring over, like the concept of having a world fair. The idea of that kind of environment where everyone brings all their inventions and stuff, and you get to see, stuff from distant lands that are inaccessible right now. It's like we have it a little more over the top than say like in 20th Century Boys or Emma, which is interesting that like the World Fair kind of concept spans all those stories because the World Fair has existed like forever.
Well, people like to go to fairs and to see what's going on.
And it's cool to see like stories based in different timelines that have World's Fair. It's like, whoa, this is interesting. Because you get to see everyone's impression of like the future and stuff, and it's kind of cool to see like that. That's one thing I also really like. I don't know, I'm gonna just be rambling all night at this case, but I always like the idea of each era's version of the future. Like when you watch Batman animated, and that's set in like Art Deco.
Yeah, it's like 50s, 60s, 40s future.
And you see in Mask of the Phantasm, the movie, like this future world, and it's all like the jetpacks to work, and and then you go to the 70s version of the future, which is like Back to the Future. 70s, 80s, which is like everything is like floating and everyone has...
Well, the 80s felt like it was the future with the fashion.
And then the 90s version of the future, which is a little more militaristic and kind of Star Trek and like, organized. And then 2000s version of the future, which is a little more organic and circular and stuff. And it's like... And Futurama is kind of based on, I think, the 70s, 60s future. And it's just interesting to see each era's version of the future and how things that come to light, to reality, inform what is practical. So like now we're thinking, okay, flying cars isn't gonna work. Let's find another way to make cars fly.
Yeah, flying cars is a bad idea.
And so you see with what's coming out, the one that used to be, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that's coming out now.
Total Recall.
Total Recall, and now cars kind of drag on the ceiling with magnetism. Or in
that's...
Minority Report, cars slide along these tracks like predetermined routes.
Because I really like the, going back to Fifth Element, where it is that, and also like...
Fifth Element was kind of a throwback
work as
to
well,
like
where it's just...
Everything's flying and
it's
abrasive
dirty
and
full,
it's not a clean
and
future.
It's
a layered future.
It's like now you have flying cars, and it's like now there's gridlock everywhere, and it's things are busting up, and
versus
things don't always
like
work, and
the niceness.
It feels kind of like
where it's like, oh, everyone's just driving.
Yeah, I wonder what that is. Is it like a '90s New York kind of heavy
It'd be
metal?
A New York future.
Like it's like a heavy metal kind of future where it's just like gritty and. I don't know, early '90s, late '80s, just taxi cabs and
yeah. So I find that always interesting, just like the depiction of the futures, and like I want something that lines them all up, just so I can see this was the future in the '70s, this was the future in the '60s, this is what we think the future is now, and just being like, it's interesting to see like what, and then you go even back to like Jules Verne and all that stuff, where like we thought of all this stuff that kind of happened but didn't really, but did, it's just very. I'd like to like have the future, the book.
The coffee table book.
Yeah, just the coffee table book of futures, and it'd be divided into eras. Like, if this exists, someone tell me, because I would be fascinated to take a look through it. Nah.
You need a job.
Can I get like an upfront of like a year's worth of rent in advance?
Yeah.
To be like, I just need to live. I don't need to be luxurious.
Yeah, I just need to make rent.
But that'd be a book I would be interested to read, or I guess write. Endless Skyward, I would read that book. Okay.
I just want the actual Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I should call it The Future Then.
Is it like the future then? Or the future then?
Well, I don't know if it's a ... or a comma or dash or subtitle in parentheses. Colon / /
This is becoming very complicated very quickly.
But that'd be interesting. It'd be kind of like, what did everyone think? And even going back further, like I kind of, my knowledge of it kind of stops at the 70s, but like 60s, 50s, 40s, like what did they think was coming? Like that's,
well, isn't that even what steampunk
is,
like Victorian future?
But like, I don't know if they thought of that at the time though. Like in the time of the Victorian happening, were they like, we're going to have friggin' guns with steam coming out of it, and a train that floats with steam coming out of it?
Jules Verne kind of.
I don't know.
That's his future story.
I'm not well versed enough.
I wonder what caveman future was. I can't even. That'd be kind of funny.
That'd be interesting.
Caveman future.
What time is it? It's been
8:49.
I feel like I've just yelled a lot more.
We were very quiet the last time.
It takes the strain out. The last time I wasn't here. Somehow we got to that. So yeah, bottom line is Silly Kingdom is not based in any real world, though it is informed by what we know of the real world. But it is a part of a grander scheme of things that isn't in any way interconnected to each other, but it is an existing world that has history. I don't know what comes before Silly Kingdom, though, if that's the case. I think that's kind of the earliest we'll ever go.
Yeah, we're gonna tell these stories chronologically.
Yeah, because we have some cool stuff coming up. And you won't see it for like years.
Yeah, we've actually got like it's like we were saying when we were doing that interview with Alice Quinn of T-Dot Comics. She was like, "Why did you choose to do Silly Kingdom first?" And we were like, it was just kind of the closest that was ready to being done because it was a short, compact story. So it was like, okay, we can get this done in under 40 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else is grand and crazy.
Yeah, it's good to start small.
As far as other things, like I'd say, like not everything. Like some things are in their own bubbles. Like not every story you write is in the same world or not, depending how you do it. But like I'd say, like if you've read Buttons and Jim from Flight Volume 8, that would just be the real world.
Yeah, that's based now.
That would be based here, sure. There's not much else to say. And Fairy Market is just a fairy tale. I'm not sure when Fairy Market, if you've read it, when it's actually based, because it could be based now just in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't really have a date. It's just one of those, just some one-off stories. So not everything has to be interconnected and brilliant. It's not a big thing everywhere. It's like, it's kind of like, you know, if you follow like the Hanna-Barbera properties, are they all in the same world? Is Yogi causing trouble for Ranger Smith? Meanwhile, Loose Goose Maboose or whatever the hell is running around the city.
That's a scary sounding goose. Loose Goose Maboose. Hello.
Or Loose Moose Magoose. And are they running by Magilla Gorilla? Like, is it all the same world? Because they do those like whenever they do like a crossover story.
Aren't they all in like a giant race together?
They are in a big wacky race together, which I think is a genius idea. When you can take like all your pre-existing properties and just go Super Smash Bros on them and be like, good, they're all in the same world, and we don't have to like give a reason. It's not a fighting game where we got to be like, oh, they're fighting to keep the worlds intact and one will stand. Like it's just let's throw them all in. Who gives a crap? Like Final Fantasy, like none of that's canon. It's just like when you say Dissidia, like you don't say like, well, when in Final Fantasy VII did Cloud leave to fight everyone and then go back? You know, it's like, no, it's just fun silliness. You know, it's kind of fun when you can do that and not have to explain it. But the problem is, like, a lot of things try to explain it. It's like,
when in Final Fantasy VII did things become so crucial and depressing and desperate, and Cloud goes to like play the basketball game all day long? that game plays.
It's sometimes
because you get so many points. It's like, I just gotta raise my chocobo.
No, but that was in canon though. That's not like the stuff that's not canon is when you take all the characters and they're all in the tournament. It's like, why would that ever happen?
It's like Sephiroth's gonna destroy the world. I just need to raise.
Well, you know, because.
I don't have a gold chocobo yet.
In canon, that does make sense because this is an active world. Like Midgar, you know, Sector 7, you have the Golden Saucer. It's like, Cloud's gotta blow off some steam. You know, it's like, dude,
I haven't been on the Ferris wheel
yet. How many bunny rabbits I've slaughtered out in the Winter Wonderland.
Holy.
I've got to blow off some steam on a surfboard or snowboard and raise some chocobo and enter the gambling ring and fudge the numbers. The world comes next. You know, like we're talking to Zelda. He's got to chill and fish.
Yeah.
It is heavy business.
You gotta sometimes just throw chickens at
sometimes
people.
When you kill everything in sight, you gotta just relax and grab a chicken and jump off a waterfall and
go
see
into
what
someone's
happens.
house and smash their pots.
You know, Link's just throwing whatever's at the wall and seeing what sticks. You know what I'm saying? It's like, Zelda, she's in trouble, but you know what? I am just stiff from killing moblins left, right, and center.
Yeah.
I've gotta just fish, dude.
Sometimes you take a weekend.
I had a zombie jump on my face.
Yeah, that's
it was stressful. The freakiest thing of my life.
And you start off the adventure with those giant spiders too.
There's invisible spiders.
Yeah,
I hate this world.
Sucks.
I just want to go throw bomb shoes at a wall. Can I just chase some ghosts and put them in jars for once in a while? Let me relax. Maybe I just want to ride a Epona and jump over a few fences. Not so hard. Gotta chill. It's all canon. Why not?
Yeah.
And the comics, if you've read the ones released by Viz, kind of like help that like Link is just like, yeah, I'm just fishing, and Navi's like, look how there's a big fish. It's like, yeah, they can relax. Like, not everything's dead serious.
Sometimes you need to take a break.
You know, Lord of the Rings kind of did that too, where it's like,
let's go find some ghosts.
let's go chuckle and friggin' Aragorn went off to find ghosts. It was silly and funny, and he won the war with them. He had a Scooby-Doo ending. It was great. I'm sorry, that was honestly the worst part of the whole trilogy.
You hate that scene.
It's just such a...
It's and I brought 10,000 ghosts!
Aragorn's got his ghosts, who though you cannot hit, they can hit you.
Yeah, but I think if you need the whole history of what was set up in the world of Lord of the Rings...
Why not bring Tom Bombadil out? And he makes a song and they all decide not to fight anymore.
Well, maybe, because I think Tom Bombadil probably could have taken on Sauron.
Maybe the Jello pudding goblins from Sauron's house need to learn music to remember what it's like to be human.
The Urukai.
Yeah, because they came out with pudding.
They're pudding cups.
You know? Oh, man. And then there was Link in a dress. Yes.
Was he in a dress?
Wasn't he?
Cloud was in a dress. Was Link in a dress?
Remember the burlesque show with Ganondorf?
Oh, it was hot. The minute you walk in the joint. Done. That's why we still need to get a Shanahannigan's blog going.
Yeah, we gotta fix that.
Because we need to share all your amazing fan arts and all Fluxbox's ridiculous memes.
All of Fluxbox's amazing weird memes. But he put them up on his Twitter, though. He started Twitter.
Oh, excellent.
So you guys can track that down if you want to see. We're coming up at the hour of 9. Lovely Lake Bride Drew says endless guys.
That was amazing.
Yes. Let's just crush out a few more things to hate. So Air Canada.
Sons of bitches.
Speaking of us flying out, I don't know if you guys fly around a lot and if you know how things roll. Sometimes you can just be like, oh, I want to see it on a plane. Like, okay,
I have to say that we are very laissez-faire in our like travel bookings too. It's like, oh,
no, that's nothing
we
to do
do.
with this.
Okay, fine.
This is because we're Tango class, which is I don't even know if that's lower than low class or no class, but we're Tango, apparently. Mm-hmm. And what you get when you're Tango is they're like, we got our tickets. We're like, okay, I finally found a good enough deal. It's the best we're gonna get at this point.
So outrageous.
Not great, but whatever. Air Canada wants to nickel and dime us even further because I got this email. It's like, oh, have you picked your seats yet? I'm like, oh no, I haven't. I guess we should because you need seats when you're on an airplane, right?
You don't get a seat if we don't pick
one. You don't get to lie in the aisle.
Sorry,
you'd assume if it's like, oh, there's really nice seats that are near. Sometimes near the emergency exit, there's like extra leg room, so they charge you for that. I'm like, I understand that. Why not? If they can nickel and dime you, they want to nickel and dime us for any seat at all that we choose to pick because they're like, oh, if you want to sit next to your travel partner, be it your friends or your relatives or your husband or wife, you've got to pay an extra $35 for picking.
If you don't, we'll find the most annoying person on the plane. Maybe
We've
sit next to them.
calculated who they should sit beside, and it's going to be very unpleasant. So cough it over. Give us the extra $35.
We've hidden 5 very smelly actors.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, really? Really? Like, we fly Porter once in a while. Porter is our little off the island in Toronto. It's literally like over there.
It's a business plane, so it's for you need to get to New York. You need to go to Ottawa.
And it's basically like as much as you get on a bus, you could just be like, I want to sit here. But no, you do pick your seats. But they're just like, pick your seat. Ta-da! It's that easy. And
you get breakfast.
2 seats.
And you get complimentary wine and cookies.
Air freaking Canada wants to charge us for being like, oh, I wouldn't mind sitting beside Katie as we fly. They're like, no.
There's a premium for that.
If you want to sit by people you know,
why would you even think that
why would you fathom
do that?
So I'm like, no. I will play this game as far as I can take it. Me and Katie are going to get 2 random seats, and we're going to have
make best friends
yes.
with our neighbor. And we're going to see who's more best friends with their neighbor.
So I looked at the seating map recently, and all that's left is the center between the 2 smelly people.
Oh.
So
are there colored seats for that?
Yeah, the colored seats. Yeah, there's like
the green seats.
There's these seats with the little like flies, and so they planned it out. But so. Right now, only the middle aisle is available, I think. So, but they're at least not too far from each other. We can look over and be like, hey, what's up? But I think I've played this game before, though. Like, I called them out. I called their bluff. Yeah. And, like, a bunch of us travelers, none of us knew each other, but we all ended up in, like, kind of the back.
Well, this was our first year to San Diego Comic-Con.
And we didn't go for it either, because I'm like, I'm not going to pay an extra $35, because this was the purpose of the Indiegogo. And I'm like, I'm not going to charge more, like take more Indiegogo money.
Yeah, just to get
a seat. I'm gonna like
Air
put it.
Canada.
I'm just trying to prove how great I am. Okay. So we're gonna play the game, like just like throw a dice to the wind and see what numbers come up on and paint. And last time we did it, we just ended up with enough people who also did that we're just like, oh yeah, we'll just switch seats.
Yeah, because there was like a married couple, like a young couple.
I'm like, dude,
they weren't next to each other, so we were like, yeah, and we're all just in the aisle.
And we're all just like, whatever, we're all in the same section, so I'm hoping that happens again, and we can and if not, I have radio plays I can listen to or something.
Yeah, I'll just stock up my music list or try to work.
I don't know, it's just such the balls on them. Like, I know they're going to start charging for pillows now. They start charging for breathing. They're basically going to try to charge you for anything they can.
They charge you for those little paper towels, the hot blankets.
Yeah. The cup, if you, like, you can order a drink.
This might be a good experiment for me to try and be more social. Because, sometimes there's that window where you don't get it. Well, no, because I remember I traveled to Ottawa, right?
I'm next to a taco. She's got a yap in my ear.
I know when to shut it off. But, like, I was going to Ottawa one time, and it's like a 5-hour train ride, thereabout. And it was like, I sat down, I was like, oh, sweet, I have a window. I generally like being alone because I can read or work. But then someone else came, and it was like this thing where it's like, when I looked, she was up there, and then I got a phone call when she was down there, and so we never, like, made eye contact, and then we're both sitting.
Where was this phone call?
And then it was like, the train starts, and we haven't acknowledged each other yet, and I'm like, do I say hello? I don't know what to do. So there's this, like, gap here where we're trying not to, like, look at each other, and it was really awkward. But I was like, if she doesn't say hi, I don't have to say hi.
The onus is not on me, it's her.
But then it's like, but maybe I should say hi because maybe she's shyer than I am. And then it was like,
Screensaver.
maybe we'll be best friends if I
Who
just
knows?
say
Because
something.
once again, like I didn't have to talk to people in line at Rocky Horror, and then
Yeah.
I find out the guy made Pooch Cafe. What are the odds?
Yeah.
So, there you go.
I feel like you should err on the side
Now,
of being friendly.
on to my advantage, I was dressed as Sonic the Hedgehog, so that was kind of. I don't think I'm doing
So
that.
I
on
should
the
dress
flights.
as Sonic the Hedgehog.
Like there'd be a story or two to tell once we've like. They'd be like, so how many rings did you collect, Sonic? I'm like, oh, let me tell you. It'd be a great flight, and then he could tell his kids, you would never guess who sat beside a lunatic.
Yeah.
He was dressed as Sonic, and he was talking like he was Sonic. And like, Dad, did you poke him? He was like, no, son. I didn't poke the lunatic. Oh, you.
You don't do that.
You leave them alone.
Poke the lunatic.
Yeah, that could happen. But I don't want to be next to the guy, and he's like, are you going to attack this whole planet?
Then you're like, yes, actually.
Yes, I am now.
I wasn't.
Just to spite you.
Now you've given me a challenge.
Strike up conversation. Speaking of striking up conversation, we got to strike it down.
Oh, really?
We got to end this show. It's like 9 o'clock.
Oh.
We gotta finish that thing we're not supposed to talk about.
Secret things.
And another thing that's going to be amazing.
It's so exciting.
But if you're coming out to Vancouver, if you're just walking by, you're like, oh shoot, Vancouver's there.
It's totally
Come
free.
to Vancouver
Yeah.
because Bandcap, absolutely
Bandcap.
free. It's at a place that looks awesome. It's like brick.
I think it's called the Roundhouse.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We're going to be hanging out in town. If you guys...
I think is it VancouverComics.com?
Maybe. I'm just going to show what you've been doing the whole time while we're
Oh,
doing
okay.
this. Enough of my
You
angry
search
face.
it out.
You can save it as a screensaver just to remind you of anger.
Right.
Yeah, so Vancap, just look up Vancap. They have a Twitter as well, keep you posting all the
so
events.
light.
I
I don't know if you guys can see
I
that.
don't
It's
know,
so orange.
maybe not that second one, but the first one. I guess.
Person, you saw this 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, how about that? We're going to be there. We have a table. You can check out Katie's websites and stuff to see where the table is. Should be able to find us. We're going to have a big... Are we going to have the banner with us? Can we show them?
We're going to bring the banner. I should
Is
be
that
okay.
your carry-on? Or is
Yeah.
Eric going to be like, ha, ha, ha.
Oh, I don't know, because I talked to the Anthology Project guys, and they just brought theirs with them, so I'm hoping they don't
Looks
be
like
like,
you want to carry something. I'm going to charge you for it.
You
You
want to sit on a plane?
You guys ever come back to Stumptown again, I'll give you my Okapi keychain.
Ooh.
I didn't know they had keychains for Okapi. That's nice. That's nice.
I mean, we might go back next year.
Maybe. I
We
need
have
money.
fun times.
This is honestly like this and Comic Con are like the last time I'm getting on a plane ever. I'm not gonna be able to. So we're gonna be at Bandcap Saturday and Sunday this coming. There's also panels we're gonna be on. Katie's on this fairy tale business on. Is
I
it
am
Saturday?
on a fantasy panel. I have to double check
Fantasy,
when
sorry.
it is exactly.
Fairy tale, look at me.
I've been so crazy busy again with storyboards and things and secret projects that I haven't checked what time it is exactly. But expect me to be up there trying to remember all the fantasy books I read as a kid.
Yeah.
And trying to explain what Silly Kingdom is without you being
Like
there's a wizard and
I think
it's
we've
his
got.
birthday.
Well, this is the interesting thing. We're also trying to figure out is how to explain the series. Like, because if you follow this show, you've seen me like lose my mind over how to do the elevator pitch, and I think we've got it down pretty good. But now that's just the one book, though. If you want to explain the series, it's like, well, there's a jester.
Oh no.
He's kind of nice.
Well, the princess
And
is also
this
kind of
is
nice.
crazy. She runs around.
Do they have names? No.
Well,
they could be any name you want.
It's like the thing. So we're working on that. I think we're kind of getting that going. And I don't know how we got to this point. So Katie's on the panel.
Yeah.
Apparently it's either on Sunday. I don't know what the exact time is, but I'm on the comedy panel apparently.
Yay!
So if you like chuckles in your shuckles, come out to Vancap. We're gonna have jokes.
You'll do fine.
God.
You'll do just fine.
I'm gonna be next to like the opener of the local Slip and Laugh.
It's gonna be other cartoonists. You'll be fine.
I don't know what a slip and laugh is.
I don't want to
It's
know.
like, we put out a slip and slide and you gotta tell jokes while you're going across the lawn. Like, did you hear the one about... That'd be kind of fun, actually. I should start
That'd be hard.
That'll be for my book launch. We'll have
And then like the ending when you go through like the crocodile mile mouth.
Yeah. That's the punchline. What else is going on? So that's coming up. We're going to be in Vancouver if you guys are nearby or if you're coming. We hope to see you there. Ask us questions. We'll give you answers. And also sell you delightful books. Will we have copies and everything here?
I think so. This is almost in Vancouver, if not already.
Hopefully this is in Vancouver. You want your cautionary tales. Cautionary fables and fairy tales, you want that. It's got lots of fun art, lots of different stories. A little dark, a little on the dark side, but don't worry. It makes your kids stronger to know that there's evil in the world. We're also going to be having Silly Kingdom. Hungry Merchant's 211th birthday.
No evil in there.
No, it's all good. It's all misdirection of intentions.
It's all silliness.
It's all silly. We'll be there. We'll be signing. We'll be handing out books and
drawing.
And we'll also have fancy schmancy business cards.
Oh, dang! Where'd mine go?
We just printed business cards. I got some for Uber Friendship.
Wait.
What?
I gotta share them because I love them.
Okay, I'll slowly do this then.
Quick, keep showing it.
Uber Friendship now has business, not really business card, it's more a promotional card because it only has our info contact.
Rounded tips.
Yes.
Rounded and on the other side, Silly Kingdom.
On the other side of mine, we've got geektripmaps.com.
You get closer radio.
Yeah, check that out. You want to go to geektripmaps.com if you're visiting Toronto. We ran around the city with the camera. We filmed all the comic shops, toy stores, and stuff that you're going to want to check out in the main downtown core. And while in Vancouver, not going to be filming another episode or series, but going to be keeping my eyes out for things that, if we do return and have a way to make money to off it, we will be coming to these places. So if you have suggestions for places we should check out while in Vancouver, either for this or just in general for food purposes, be sure to send them to us so that we can eat and be merry. We're only really going to be there until we're leaving Monday morning.
We're leaving Monday morning, yeah.
So, and I don't know if, do we know people in the evening that they're going to feed us?
If you're in Vancouver and you have food,
and you wish to feed us,
and you've enjoyed our show, we can have a live show at your house.
Yeah, we can have a podcast if you want, and we'll
if you give us access to your fridge.
What's tomorrow's TDC about? I should have filmed it today. Talking to the camera, as you notice, has been going pretty frequently. Look at that. If I have time to film the update episode for tomorrow, because I'll explain how we did this. It'll be a brief. I gotta do it really quick because we gotta leave early. Not early.
What time are we catching the plane? We're leaving tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon. So I'm gonna film and throw something up. It's not gonna be a full episode. It's gonna be an update episode before you go, oh no, he's doing it again. Update episodes do make sense for this because it gives me a chance to actually talk to you guys on the show. Oh, Jesse's gonna just say it. Yeah, I don't know what that is. We'll look at that later. But keep an eye out. Hopefully there is an episode. If not, you'll know why, because we're running the hell around. Crab Tea says in this, we'll make some while we're traveling.
Sweet.
We'll try the Crab Tea in Vancouver. I hear it's great. We'll see if it competes with Nova Scotia's. What else? Or do we have time for it?
Go for it. What do we have time for?
Let's see if I can find this page. So on the side, I made this survey.
Really?
Yes. If you guys are interested in doing a brief survey.
Interesting.
It's just about Silly Kingdom.
Ooh.
Just for my purposes, just to help me know how to tell people what's up. Now your website's just crashing on me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, say something interesting quick.
Okay, so tomorrow we'll be on a plane and oh damn. Okay, well you can follow updates from us all throughout the week. We'll try and tweet while we're out because we won't be having
hopefully
long distance.
We'll have Wi-Fi because
as long as we find Wi-Fi, we'll be...
I ain't buying nothing.
Yeah, you can follow me at Katie Shy on Twitter. You can follow Shaggy Shan, all one word, at Twitter. What else is happening that's amazing? Are you trying to do email stuff?
I'm trying to get into my Google Docs.
Okay. Damn it, what's coming up? If you're in Toronto, Anime North is also this weekend, and we were excited to go, but unfortunately...
This is our first year
after 7 years that we won't be going to
Anime North.
Yeah, which is a really fun convention. So if you're from Toronto area and you want to check it out...
Even if you haven't bought tickets, hang out in the parking lot. It's worth it.
The cocostumes are so colorful and so amazing, and
just
everybody's so happy.
Go to dinner after. You don't have to go to the con if it's too late to get tickets or something. You can enjoy yourself.
But yeah, I think if you just Google Anime North Toronto, you should find that.
It's actually not in Toronto though. It's at the border
it's
by
the airport.
So hey, you better... Oh, we're not going to be there for that. There's no Thursday night at the...
Yeah, unfortunately.
We're going to be passing where Anime North will be, and I'm going to be very, very sad.
Aww. But our little sister will be there, so if you see her, say hi.
Yeah.
I won't tell you what she's wearing because that's weird. But she's awesome.
Okay, so do we have enough people here to run this quick survey? Let's see.
Are you going to do survey now?
Maybe. I just want some feedback. Where is my folders?
Okay, what else is interesting? Things. So I'm working on selecting 2 character designs right now. Oh, shoot, you're watching me. Storyboarding, mostly story. See, this was last week's show.
Is this how it went? What do you guys want to talk about? Hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
This is kind of a thing. Sorry, this shouldn't take as long as it does, but we use Google Docs, so it takes forever.
Google Docs is a little bit slow.
Okay, I can skip most of these, I guess. So let's kind of age. Nah. You know what? I'm probably just gonna ask you the only last questions I have.
Alright, go for it.
Okay, so if you've been watching the show, you've seen me mull over the elevator pitch. But there's also the cross sell, which I talked about. And the way the cross sell works is you're trying to explain your series to people by using 2 pre-existing series that they may know, and then so it kind of helps them
make a sandwich.
Get that. So what was an example of one that we could say that makes sense?
It has to be something people know.
What's a show you know? So it's like
Lost.
All right.
Gilligan's Island
so Lost
meets
is like,
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, so let's say that. So it's like, if I had to explain Lost to somebody and they just haven't seen it all, it's like, okay, it's Gilligan's Island meets the Twilight Zone. Weird things are happening. It's on that. So the reason I bring this up is because I've been having a hell of a time trying to figure out how to explain Silly Kingdom to people who don't know it at all. They just came to our table and they're like, "You're a strange-looking fellow. What are you selling?" I'm like, "Oh, it's this book." And they're like, "You don't got me yet." I'm like, "It's like nothing you've ever seen before meets the greatest thing ever." That doesn't work, unfortunately.
No.
So if you guys right now watching can think of, after you've read Silly Kingdom, I hope, if you can think of 2 things, it could be in any medium. It could be TV, movie, video game, book, comic preferably, but any of those, what 2 would you merge to say Silly Kingdom is like this meets this? But I need 2. You can't just give me 1, because 1 doesn't help anybody. I like that Kelhan actually says Discworld, because that's the one that we want to use. Because we want to say, well, I won't tell you what we said, because that might inform your choice. So, and go.
You know this song? This is exactly what you were doing when you were trying to get the Comic-Con Pro badges. It's actually making me draw faster.
I should just show you drawing while I'm doing this.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just looking at me beatboxing like an idiot. Doesn't help nobody.
Well, this is the Shaggy
3,
Face show.
2, 1, switch. I don't think anyone else is setting in ideas.
Have you guys read Silly Kingdom?
Okay, so let's just look through a few of these. Now, once again, this has to be kind of stuff that, like, a broad audience would know. So...
A lady audience?
Because if it's like... Yes. A fanciful lady audience, a well-seasoned woman would know. Alright, so we've got some... let's see, we've got Dave the Barbarian, says Kellhound.
Okay.
What is that?
I feel like I've done this before.
Dave the Barbarian. I don't know if I can sell it on something I don't know anything about.
Yeah, and they're like, what is that? You're like, I don't know.
Everyone's agreeing. They're like, totes, Dave the Barbarian. Discworld comes up. Yep. Let's see. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs meets Something Medieval.
That's cute.
In a way, yeah, because like what happens in the movie isn't so like destructive. Like when bad things happen, they're not like, oh my god, we'll never have the same society and we must start again as mole people. They're like, oh, food hit our building, but we can eat it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I like that, actually. That's a good one. I like that. Cloudy. A lot of optimism in that. That was a really cute movie. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, thanks,
You know
guys.
I hate everything, but I really enjoy Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball.
Yeah, you're such a hater.
I like this dad character. He was interesting. He was very kind of like quiet and soft-spoken, but he's just, like,
yeah, he's
supportive.
just kind of the big eyebrows.
Okay,
and...
He's very expressive with his eyebrows. Very nice. Meatballs. Let's see. Dave the Barbarian will be known in the U.S. It's a cartoon on Disney. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball. Adventure Time meets... I'm kind of timid about Adventure Time.
I don't want to say...
Because
yeah.
I think we're not as zany.
No.
Like it's fantasy, but like they're in a world of their own. I can't even explain that. I can't explain Adventure Time.
They're
to
just
people.
a whole.
How do you cross-sell Adventure Time? It's like
it's the craziest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah. Think of the most insane thing you've ever seen. It's not that. It's crazy.
It's just hyper energy. Like
you can only explain it with itself. It's like an equation that doesn't make sense. Like Adventure Time is Adventure Time, man. You know. What else?
It's like Adventure Time meets
Grouchy
Adventure Time.
Dumbledore meets Adventure Time. Grouchy Dumbledore. Because you can't say Harry Potter, because it's not Harry Potter. Damn. I'm like wasting the whole last half of the show. We just stop the recording and like do this as an after show thing. But this is a learning show, so you guys out there too, if you're making a series, there's a thing called a cross-sell, which helps. I know sometimes you might be like, I don't want to compare my show to other shows.
Sometimes you give people an idea.
But you've got to help people ease into what you're doing if they have no idea what they're getting into. So if they're like, oh yeah, I've seen Bananas in Pajamas, and I've also seen friggin' Hunger Games.
This is like Bananas in Pajamas meets the Hunger Games?
Yeah. So
what?
Like, hello, B1. I'm sorry,
There
B2.
can only be one
There
way.
can only be one! Oh! That was amazing!
Oh.
That is a t-shirt! Sorry, I gotta write this down. B1 has a gun and says...
I don't know if you could sell that if you don't own the rights to it.
Would it be B1 or B2? Anyway, guys, don't steal this idea. There can only... No, it's gotta be Highlander. Okay. No guns. Guns suck. So, B1
it's Bananas in
and
Pajamas
B2
meets
Highlander. There can only be one.
Sorry guys, Silly Kingdom 2 isn't gonna happen. It's gonna be Bananas in Pajamas Highlander.
It's Highlander. So that's a cross-sell. Anyway, so come up with that with your own stories, but if Apocalypse, that could help. Kim Possible is a spy story. Silly Kingdom is to fantasy. That's interesting. Kim Possible is to spy stories. It's a different kind of cross-sell if you think about it.
Mm.
Not exactly a cross-sell, but it's like that. If rabbits... No.
I love just listening to your brain.
Trying to figure things out. It's like... Crab Tea
Oh gosh.
is to the new Coke machines... Oh man.
You're making too much thinking.
Yeah, this is now so meta. Such as printable bicycles are to the replicator of Star Trek.
No, but you're basing it on like people knowing a lot of stuff.
Based on people actually watching this show.
You
So
have
Kim
to be able
Possible
to
is a
pitch
spy
this to
story
like
that I like. That's an interesting one though. The Kim Possible. That Silly Kingdom is to fantasy. Okay, yeah. This is interesting. This is called brain
brain camp.
brainstorming. Braining it up. I know I won't go too much longer. I was just curious. I think of Everyday Sort of Medieval Time Story. Everyday Real Time. Fairly Odd Parents, I think. Alright, well, see, this is the process. So this helps me think. It got me some good ideas, though. I like this.
Yeah, thanks guys.
I wrote the letter G, though, and I don't know why.
This is one of your
Was there anything
unlockable things.
Oh, I think I was trying to write
You'll look at it
Grouchy.
later.
Grouchy Dumbledore. But technically it's Grouchy Saruman. Don't tell anyone. Cool. Well, that was a think pod.
Mm-hmm. That was...
Whew. Anything else to say? Anything whatsoever? No.
You're good?
I think I'm good.
I forget what table we are. I think we're table 38 at Bandcap, but if you're there, just mosey around, say hi to everyone. Come say hi to us.
Thanks for joining us, as always. This show's on Wednesdays, 7:30-ish.
EST.
Eastern time, around that.
Yeah.
Check it out. Otherwise, also keep an eye out on Talking to the Microphone. We did an interview with Quinn of Quintessential Comics, which I might upload tonight, depending on when we finish what we're
Alice
doing.
Quinn of T-Dot Comics as well.
Yes.
The Toronto just melting pot of comics news and folks and stuff. Yeah.
See, there's a King Arthur when there isn't a quest. And it's funny
Oh,
that
I
you
like
mentioned
that.
that.
Yeah.
Because I do. There's two things here that I've always been thinking of. I didn't know how to put into words. Someone else mentioned everyday sort of medieval time. Or actually, Black Ice Angel said both. My pitch for Silly Kingdom is like, you know, it's like it's time of peace. There's nothing going on, so the characters are just filling their days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like blowing everything out of proportion. That's kind of what I feel. That's just there's no good way to say that though and sign it. But it is basically like King Arthur and there isn't a quest. And I'm not saying they're bored. It's just like there's no amazing great thing happening. No evil sweeping the land. So they're just like finding ways to fill time.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like everyday life.
Yeah, there you go. King Arthur with no quests. Everyday medieval fantasy. It's your everyday medieval. No, that's not. We'll work on that. Okay, cool. TV Dinner says you're wearing the same shirt. Are you? Do you have this on your shirt?
Your boot. Oh, there you go.
Ta-da! Cool. Alright, that's enough for me. Slice of life fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that.
Slice of life fantasy.
Medieval fantasy.
And they're like, oh, so it's just depressing stories of can't get a job.
Oh, the prince can't get a job.
Cool. Alright, we've been strangling this episode for long enough. Let's take a last look at what Kay's doing, and then we will sign out and let you guys go to sleep. We'll get your food, whichever we gotta do.
Yeah, kind of goofed the eyes, but I'm going to try and fix it up a bit. Badoo, can we say what this character's name is, even?
No.
No? Okay. We're working on him. Whoop, plaid. Going for a different look there.
Yeah, without the butt in the chin.
Yeah.
I actually might like that better, because I think it's too snooty if he has the butt in the chin.
Yeah, butt chins are...
Snooty.
And I'm sorry if you have a butt chin.
And with that, thanks for stopping by. Come to Vancouver. We'll be there. Otherwise, go to Anime North if you're in Toronto. We're not going to be there, but it should be fun.
But it'll be a fun time.
And, yeah, and this says love the hair. So, very good job on the hair.
Thank you.
We will see you guys next week. I want food, too.
Me too.